welcome to Your California Life. I'm your host, Desiree Shepard. A hilarious and heartwarming coming-of-age novel is making waves as it deals with important issues with a touch of humor. Free Period takes a page out of the world of author Terese, tackling period equity through humor and friendship. Joining us today is author Terese. Welcome, Allie.
Hi, Desiree. Thank you so much for having me today and being so out on front in periods. I'm so glad you're talking about it on your show.
Yes, of course. We're excited to talk about it. So, first of all, tell us about your book and what inspired you to write it.
So, this is a middle grade novel of friendship and period equity, where two best friends, Helen and Gracie, fight to get maxi pads in their school bathrooms, and just more generally to get people more comfortable about talking about periods and the impact they have on their lives. And these girls are not born do gooders, they're pretty much chaos monsters. But what they find is that all of their crazy antics actually get more attention to the issue and really make kids feel more comfortable because they're having fun talking about something that's tough. And that's really what brought me to this issue. I had so much physical pain and shame around menstruation as a child that when I became a parent, I didn't know how I was going to talk about it in a positive way. And I really found that through this story.
Yeah, and I think it's great that young adults, children have this opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about it in a free way rather than it kind of being this weird hush hush thing that happens. So let's talk about the characters in your book. How did the pranksters, Helen and Gracie, come to champion the cause of free maxi pads in the bathrooms at their school?
So they pretty much have the eighth grade version of senioritis at the beginning of this book. They're almost done with school and they just want to have fun. But they take one prank one step too far, and their principal has pretty much had it with them. So she actually assigns them to care about something as a way to keep them out of her hair. And it's through that they find their way to their school's community action club and join a movement where students are fighting for maxi pads in all school bathrooms for all students who menstruate, but they're really not having much success. You know, they're doing all the right arguments, showing that it's important, showing that the school can pay for it, but people aren't paying attention. And they're finding that a lot of the adults in their lives don't think about the impact that menstruation has on students. And the very simple fact, the way to think about this is you can't learn if you're bleeding all over yourself in class. And so they use their antics to contribute to the movement.
Allie, what does the characters campaign teach young people about fighting for a cause they believe in?
I think the period equity movement is an incredible example of how student led advocacy can change the way that we live our lives. A couple years ago, there was just a handful of states that either required pads in schools or provided a little funding. Today, half the states in America are taking some action on this, with more joining every day. And that is directly a result of young students standing up for their rights and getting the adults to take action. And so I hope that seeing the fictional example in Free Period
Yeah.
will remind kids that they don't have to wait until they're older to create change. They can change our lives right now while they're students.
They definitely can. And how does humor help tell the story while dealing with an important topic that all women go through?
So this book has lots of wild humor in it. There's maxi pad cupcakes, there's crochet uteruses, there's all kinds of different fun stuff happening. And you know, sometimes it's easier to talk about things when we're laughing with our friends or even as a way to connect with our parents. You know, you have some kind of an icebreaker. And if that's making tan pretzels or maxi pad cupcakes to enjoy together while you talk about this tough issue, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so many adults out there, adult women, who wish they had a book like this to just kind of ease the conversation to talk about this. And how do you feel about your book being recognized as a period equity anthem?
My goal as an author is to give kids a really fun experience to get them laughing. But I hope that if this book introduces them to the issue, they're going to look into it more and get inspiration from the real life students just like them that are bringing periods out of the shadows and making it clear that this is a normal thing that kids deal with at school and that everyone is harmed if anyone is missing school or really shrinking into themselves because of shame that they feel around periods. We need everyone to jump in and normalize this as just a regular part of our lives.
And Allie, as we look at the book in the context of Women's History Month, what lessons can we learn from the stories of women, fictional and real life, who paved their own paths?
I think that whatever issue you care about is to speak up about it now. Don't wait. There's definitely people who care about an issue just like you do, and you can work together now.
There we go. Terese, thank you so much for joining us today. You can purchase Free Period wherever books are sold. And for more from the author, visit terese.com.